So obviously episode 5 revealed a lot about the characters, mainly about Ragatha of course, and as her character is slowly opening up, we can understand her way better than before. When she talked about her past, her mother, all that stuff, it just clicked, and her behavior from before where she was repressing a lot but still hurting underneath her positive facade just fell into place, and I think we all know where to stand with her now. Well, the same thing cannot be said about Jax. If more, his character just got into an even bigger mess now with episode 5, because we actually saw glimpses of him caring about others, being friendly towards Pomni, and also his tough guy persona cracking a bit when he was put into the maid clothes. And so I think the question, is Jax actually not that bad as we thought, is more relevant than ever. Of course, not reducing him only to being 100% good or 100% bad, as it's just not how humans work, but when we were searching for his motives, why he behaves the way he does, I think it's worth considering a lot of things, and today I'm going to analyze his behavior in episode 5 and try to piece the puzzle pieces together to see what his plan is for the future episodes. Does he really want to be Pomni's friend? Did it really hurt him when he lost his friend? Or is it all just manipulation? Because yeah, we did hear about the friend he lost, and we could see on his face that when Ragatha mentioned him, he was surprised and mad, but he wasn't really sad, right? I think his reaction here was more about Ragatha than Ribbit. Like he was too stunned that Ragatha even dared to mention him. Like we don't know what happened between his friend and him, and how the friend abstracted, and if they really were on good terms, we just don't know. And yeah, he might cared about him, and maybe losing Ribbit hurt Jax, but in this scene he just looked like he couldn't believe how Ragatha could bring that up. And his relationship with Ragatha was already doomed for whatever reason. Maybe it could be because of Ribbit, or maybe Jax is just fed up with Ragatha's kindness, because after all he did say,
"Why are you always pretending everything's always fine? Like, if you tell someone they're loved and appreciated every day, it just kinda loses all meaning."
But I think in this scene, Ragatha definitely pushed Jax too far, and now he's mad, and I think we'll definitely see more of Jax's revenge in episode 6, and that is what Gooseworks meant when she talked about how episode 5 is the silly before the storm, and this ties to Pomni as well, and what her friendship could mean to Jax. In the bar adventure, we could see that Jax wanted Pomni's attention on him by asking her questions and even apologizing to her, but was it really about Pomni though? With the mention of his friend and how nobody else likes him in the circus now, we could guess that yes, maybe he's just lonely and he wants a friend, and Pomni is the perfect person for that, because we could see that she didn't mind hanging out with him, because Pomni is still kinda new in the circus, so yeah, it would make sense. But I don't think that this is the case. Not really. Look at this scene, for example.
The first steps of a budding friendship, right, Ragatha?
I believe that Jax trying to get closer to Pomni is 100% about Ragatha, and he just uses Pomni to hurt Ragatha back, especially now that she brought up Ribbit. Now Jax just cannot stand that he lost control of the narrative. Cause just think about it, how Jax was in the previous episodes, always playing pranks, torturing the others, always being in control, and he didn't even pay that much attention to Pomni before. Like okay, in episode 4 he tried to talk to her one time, yes, but that's all, and he only really started playing nice after Ragatha's comment about Ribbit. So I think Jax is only manipulating Pomni to be his friend instead of Ragatha's, because he knows very well that this could crush Ragatha, because she has been there for Pomni from the beginning. In episode 1, even after Pomni left her in the dorm hall, then in episode 2 she went up to Pomni's room to check on her, even though she was hurt by how Pomni left her there the day before. And then episode 3 came, which I think was important for this trio, because if you remember back to what Kinger said,
"In this world, the worst thing you can do is make someone think they're not wanted or loved."
And then Pomni went up to Ragatha and said this.
"Thanks for always being concerned about me. I haven't really been appreciative enough about that."
Just look at Jax's face in the background. This is an important moment. Now I don't know if the reason for his annoyance is Ragatha's fake kindness and always positive attitude, or maybe it's because it somehow relates to Ribbit and how he abstracted, because I think that would make more sense why Jax is so mad at what Ragatha said. But there is another thing I think is important here, and it's this scene.
Do you think Gangle is actually capable of being happy?
It looks like he's not only against Ragatha, but Zubul as well, like how they're being kind and caring towards Gangle, and the act itself seems to be what Jax just cannot stand. Like, I don't really think that he cares about Gangle specifically here, but it seems like Jax is bitter because of others don't handle the whole digital circus game as he does, because for him this is all a game. Just think about how he was with the shotguns, eating Gangle, throwing Pomni out of the truck, all of these messed up things things, they didn't really matter to him. He knows they can't die, and I think he also believes that it's his job to push against Ragatha's kindness with his careless acts. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic between the two, and in episode 6 we might get to learn about Jax's real motives behind his actions, but first I'm sure that we are going to see the worst thing he does in that episode. I think that he's going to push Ragatha over the edge in episode 6 with acting all sweet with Pomni, only to later dump her without a care in the world, and that somehow is going to start a chain reaction where Pomni could get mad and then tell everyone off, or maybe Ragatha will take it personally, like she couldn't save Pomni from Jax, or I don't know, maybe I'm being too modest with these guesses and something even crazier will happen, but yeah, Gooseworks put Jax on the content warning list for a good reason, I assume, and especially with how Gooseworks said that the bunny doll shippers are probably going to be mad with what's gonna happen. I can't think of anything good, or that maybe Jax and Ragatha could resolve their issues in a peaceful way. I think the truth is gonna come out and it's gonna be ugly, but there is definitely something buried between them, and my guess with what we know now is that it has something to do with Ribbit and his abstraction. I think it could be possible that Jax and Ragatha were both friends with Ribbit, and maybe also with each other, but their different ways of caring probably ended badly, and maybe that could have led to Ribbit's abstraction, and now Ragatha blames Jax and Jax blames Ragatha, both of them failing to recognize their own fault in the situation. I think this scenario is the most likely, because Jax and Ragatha are literally the two sides of the same coin, but the roots of their actions are probably the same. But since they cannot meet halfway, there's only tension left between them, which is gonna explode sooner or later. But given that it's gonna be episode 6 already out of the 9 episodes, I think it's gonna be sooner. And as for Pomni and the others, well, I don't think Jax really sees them. I think he's fixated on Ragatha and he wants to hurt her the most, and everybody else is just a potential weapon. Because in this scene, we could see how Jax brought up the stupid sauce incident.
Remember when you got high at McDonald's and told Gangle to kill herself? Now that was funny.
And yeah, we could see that he definitely didn't do it for Gangle, and I think the same goes for Pomni. He's probably using her to get closer to Ragatha, and that way he can hurt her in a way it's gonna sting. So I think the previous episodes, but especially episode 5, was only setting up Jax's master plan, but in episode 6 we'll see the plan in action, where he'll use everyone and everything in his power to destroy Ragatha for whatever reason, which hopefully we'll also finally learn about. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.